Hi everyone, and hashtag Be1 Less News and hashtag CDC Whistleblower. And right this moment, hashtag SB277 for the state of California bill and hashtag mine, all caps, meaning it's my body, it's mine. I have the pleasure tonight of being here with Timothy Welsh, who's at Tanner's Dad, and Candace S. Dave, who's at CES Dave. And I'm just going to launch right into this one because it's overdue. One of the challenges we've had from the beginning with our TAD tips, because you can always find them at tinyurl.com/TADtips, TATIPS, and then you simply put in the number 194 6. Just the numeral, and you can find all the different videos that we've done. But right now I want to back up and talk to some of the people who are working their butts off to, at this particular moment in time, between May 1st, all hands on deck for the state of California while we actively fight back hashtag SB277 and hashtag SB792, which is actually the worst bill of all the bills that we've seen in the state of California, to the point that there's a very good chance all of these other bills about school age mandates were designed to disguise pushing through hashtag SB792 without resistance, which is the daycare centers in California, both public and private, requiring the adult CDC schedule for vaccines. It's the first time in the history of the country that a state would mandate adult vaccines for private industry. It's a breakthrough point that we absolutely don't want to happen, and we need to peel off parts of our energies to fight that instead. Huge shout out to Victoria, I think her last name is Velasquez, who's in all of these groups. She gave the best testimony I have seen so far in all of the hearings. I missed part of the education hearing while I was out herding people in the line to make sure they did a good job so that we could stay. And yes, I'm breathing, Tim. But Valerie hit it out of the park. We're going to be time-stamping that for everybody. You can scroll to her testimony by going to tinyurl.com/SB277 education, scroll down to the one that says health hearing, that's at 1:30, and you can listen to her testimony. In the next couple of days, she's going to give us a copy of that testimony, and probably 80% of it applies to the judicial arguments, which is what we're crafting now. So all of these groups, there's about 50 people who listen to these videos every day for the purpose of focusing their energies based on our guidance on Twitter, on Facebook, making Animotos, dissecting information for us. And that's been fabulous, and that's worked very well. But every day we have some new viewers that are more from the global working against hashtag SB277 that just don't understand what the heck we're doing. So I just want to pause and explain that to everyone. Tim, Candace, myself, Marcella, Carolyn, Kelly, Marsha, Marlene, there's a whole crew of people that are both tweeters and activists and also to-do list people, meaning we can do a shout out and say, we need a timestamp for the health hearing, and 12 hours later, Kelly Fincher will have time-stamped all of the different testimony for us. So we're great like that. But what we're not great at is stopping every time to introduce what we're doing. Our focus and what we try really hard to stay on the ball with is Twitter as a tool for moving the needle in all of this in the right direction. We utilize Facebook to communicate with one another. We use Twitter to focus and speak to the masses. For example, Ben Allen, who is at Ben Allen CA, was a target for education this entire time. And then as of yesterday, he sent out a tweet talking about not caving to angry parents. And under a huge amount of pressure from the social media people, we haven't been able to rein them in anymore and not making him part of the problem, which is probably where this is going to head. People recognizing that Ben Allen is the co-author of this bill. He's simply not on our side, or that's what it's appearing to be. So Tim, Candace, and I have been in the position because of these videos that we do every day, and because of mostly Tim doing a ton of tweeting and Candace doing a ton of tweeting, to drift Twitter in different directions. For example, when we took over hashtag SB277, that was because of our guidance that people were using hashtag no on SB277, no SB277, oppose SB277, all of which, because of Tim's social media knowledge, we knew were dead ends. We needed to hijack hashtag SB277, which reminds me actually that hashtag community immunity, hashtag I am the herd, hashtag vaccines work are all currently unattended by being married to hashtag CDC whistleblower. So those are 3 hashtags that we may want to do some marrying to hashtag CDC whistleblower until we fully monopolize those again, because right now they're looking fairly pro-vax, and it wouldn't take much energy to bring them back into our messaging since we tweet 10 times as much as they do. I know I'm talking about a lot right now, but I really want people to understand that we focus these TAD tips on what we need the tweeters to do in real time to keep our 7 million impressions a day, which is constantly reaching new people that didn't know any of this was a problem today. They'll get a tweet tomorrow that they'll go, what is that? That's weird. And we have a whole new crew of people every day that are being woken up to the concept that vaccines may not be exactly what they're presented to be. So when it comes to all these groups that are fighting hashtag SB277, it's good to watch these videos, and it's good to, I think, follow our lead when it comes to Twitter and social media, but it doesn't encapsulate the jobs that need to be done for moving that whole thing forward. So I want to pause on this video and do an update on that. The Education Committee, as most of you know, was put on hold, so it's going to be a vote only on Wednesday at 1:15 a.m. in, I think, room 2040. There is a crew of us that are going to go up there to be in the room and probably walk the halls a little bit. That's Wednesday. Because it was not done before the scheduled judicial, they've canceled the judicial and put it off to tentatively the 28th of April, I believe, at 1:30 is a regular scheduled. But where you can go for that information is calendarwiz.com/SB277. As much calendar information as we ever have is going to be at that link, calendarwiz.com/SB277. There's also a document, tinyurl.com/SB277 status, which demonstrates the information we have on, are people a no, are they a yes, or are they a maybe, and we haven't contacted them enough. So right now what's going on is all the pressures on the Education Committee, the 8 people, it's actually 9 people now because they subbed out Huff for, I forget her last name, it's a woman, Justice or something, and then they added Monning, who's a firm yes, as a Democrat, that will most likely tip the scales on education towards a yes and passing it through. We can't let that slow us down. We can't let that bother us. But you have to be prepared for that politicking, which is completely insane and will ruin these people's careers ultimately, to be a bump in the road for us in the meantime. But it doesn't mean we don't put the pressure on the Education Committee and everyone around the Education Committee. So you need to keep up with the phone calls. When I was in Ben Allen's office the other day, the phone was not ringing. And Ben Allen should definitely be one of our focus points because the rumor's definitely getting out, both from his body language at these hearings and from intel that we're getting around Ben Allen, that he's cracking under the pressure and that he's going, whoa, what is it? Not cracking under the pressure, but we've given him a lot of education, stuff that he didn't know, and then he's looking at the writing on the wall like, this is, hey, who's doing something funky now with the noise? Okay, better. So we have Ben Allen, who we definitely need to be putting the pressure on, that they know that it didn't just stop at that hearing. So education, stay on it, come on Wednesday, wear your red, sit in that room respectfully, and then walk the halls as a group for Wednesday. The other thing that's vitally important that we do right now is we think of as many judicial arguments as we can think of. And as much as you think that this is a lawyer's job, it's really not. One of the best arguments I've seen to date came out of a mom who was worried that she was going to have to homeschool her children. So she started looking into SB 792, which is the bill that I said is the scariest one of all because of the precedents it sets and the one I think they really want to pass the most. She said, you know what? SB 277 will force me to homeschool my children if I don't want to vaccinate, and SB 792 will force me as the teacher that's labeled under the daycare system as a private school to be vaccinated to have that homeschool. So it's a catch-22, and it's the perfect argument for judicial. Just be thinking of anyone and everyone who could possibly come in with litigation and make a claim. Because when it comes to our legal systems, again, it's not whether or not a claim is legitimate, it's whether or not the judge thinks the claim is legitimate and how much will it cost the state, the senators, the assemblymen, their staffers to defend these cases. One that's been brought to our attention is when a child dies, because a child will die who got a shot under duress, will any of these representatives be held for negligent homicide when they finally do read the research and it becomes abundantly clear that they were simply on the wrong side of history? So that's a question. These are the types of questions. Another one that's been raised is when you have these special needs kids with a IEP that warrants $65,000 to $100,000 worth of services at the school. So if they are now being told they're not going to vaccinate, so they have to be homeschooled, do those services follow them home? Do they get sued to follow them home? What happens with that? So these are, everybody needs to have their thinking caps on. Our goal should be 1,000 different ways that the state of California is going to be litigating around SB 277. You know what I mean? Can I have like 10 minutes, ladies? Can you go back downstairs and come back in like 10 minutes? Thank you. And that's the job of all the people that are in these groups. And the other thing that I'd really love for people to start understanding is the value of the hashtag within Facebook and within Twitter. Anytime you put a hashtag, for example, one hashtag that's worked really well for us, not for Twitter communication, but to use as a sticky note in cyberspace, especially on Facebook, is hashtag SB277 calendar. For example, Moaning was having an open house yesterday. We put hashtag SB277 calendar. Then our calendar creator can go through the Facebooks, find all the things that were listed with hashtag SB277 calendar and get it on the calendar. And we can do that with all of these different things. Like we can say hashtag SB277 legal and put all the legal arguments as sticky notes in all the different groups, and then somebody can go through and collect all of those so that we can get them to the right people. So again, these TAD tips are for our tweeters, but we're also, Tim is always on top of the news. He was on top of that Elmo video, he was on top of the Suzanne Humphreys video, and we had shot a video about those videos when they had like 15 views. So we're always on the cutting edge with what's happening out there. Tim, please speak. Or Candace. So that's my update for people understanding what the heck we're doing. And this is 121, so we've been doing it 121 days straight. Tim,
so
are you?
I think people really don't, the concerted effort that we know that upwards of 50,000 different individuals now have tweeted CDC whistleblower. We've reached 1 billion conversations on February 11th. I stopped counting after 1 billion because I don't think we need to go any further. Other people like to remind us that we're probably getting close to 2 billion now. But I think, 1 billion conversations versus 0 on mainstream media, you can't get a bigger juxtaposition than that. And I also want to give a shout out to all the, there's always that joke about what do lawyers do, and I'm really seeing the judicial group of bar members coming to the forefront now, and some of the things that they're sending me behind the scenes are just going to knock the socks off of these politicians when they start filing some of these things. And so that's maybe a little bit of a teaser, but there's some things coming down the pipe that are just going to knock some people's socks off.
And I'm just going to say this: I'm not uninvolved, nor have I been uninvolved in a very high level strategy team at a national level that's talking about all of this. And this next hearing is going to be a doozy, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Candace, do you have anything? Right?
Yeah, today I was busy tweeting some old memes, some new stuff, and the feature at Twitter where you can just quote the tweet,
right?
It would be beneficial for people to go through and add those hashtags and some of the education committee people, because there's lots of information here in those tweets. I put lots of links to our V1 Less page.
So let's get
lots of education.
I'm going to go back to your Twitter thing in a second, but I first just want to go over this meme. This is one of those crazy looking memes that we find, but once you really understand what it is, you're like, oh, well, that's just interesting. On the left is fear of vaccines and all these people getting pushed off the cliff by the big pharma propaganda on mainstream media, and showing that all these people are falling victim to chronic illness and death from the hyper-vaccination that we have in America. And it looks like what they're saying is the CDC whistleblower offered a bridge for people to avoid being somebody who never had informed consent and never understood the possible downsides of a vaccine. And the concept of is herd immunity hoax right there. So now let's go to, we have people writing amazing things that we've got to get out there, and this is one of them. Kyla, can I have 5 minutes, please? Please? Sorry. Teenagersville. So this is one of them, and let's just do it right now. Let's just copy tinyurl.com. We'll just create it right now. We go right here. We paste it. We pan rebuttal. Let's see if that's available. Pan rebuttal. So now that I'm looking at is now called pan rebuttal. I hope it's not too noisy. It'll be gone in a second. So this is somebody who voluntarily went through all the testimony of Dr. Pan and came up with the data on the reality and put it in this document. And now it's under tinyurl.com/pan rebuttal. That's the beauty of the system that we've set up, as far as it's one thing for somebody to do all this research. It's another thing for the people who are on the verge of repeating this research to not know about it and to now be able to go to tinyurl.com/pan rebuttal and find it. Kyla. Teenagers. Wow. Okay, so that's that, pan rebuttal. Okay, so now Tim found this. Does it need any intro, or can we just start at 6 minutes, Tim?
We can just start it.
Okay. Can you hear it?
No.
Bloggers, and I got two things. First, I went to the Richmond Dirty Bomb drill. I'm the one that got the guy on footage saying he's a sovereign citizen.
You are the independent reporter that went mega viral on Drudge. You are the guy. Exactly. You have the power. It's millions of Alex Joneses, of Paul Revere's out there. Go ahead.
I got another one. Yesterday, my wife went to the state capitol in Sacramento because the Senate Education Committee was having their hearing on the mandatory vaccine. She brought her video camera. We got it all good, and I sent it to you. If you guys want to run that one, you can.
Absolutely. What was the byline of the video you sent us?
It was corrupt chair steals victory from California parents. Because I'm going to tell you what, that bill was dead. They did not have the vote. It was dead. There was a line. The whole building was packed. The line went out the door.
Wait, are you telling me the media hasn't announced it and SB 277 has been shot down?
No, it has not been shot down because of the corrupt chair, and that's what I'm going to get to. It was horrible.
He wouldn't let him. So the headline is California won't let anti-vax parents testify.
No, they testified one after another for 2 hours straight. There was almost 1,000 people.
Oh, he let them. I never heard about that.
No, the media just said that Senator Pan is going to wait. That's not what happened. They're not telling you the whole story. I sent it to you. It's all in there. What happened was they were visibly shaken. They had a packed room, a line going out the building and around the corner.
And they waited to get rid of you. They waited to get rid of you before passing it. Wow. Out of committee.
No, the committee chair, Carol Liu, looked at the guy, and because all the senators, they have problems with the school. They said, we can't kick kids out of school because they're not being vaccinated. That's not going to work. And what happened was, she said, I'm going to give you some advice. You don't have the votes right now. Do you want to wait a week? And then the camera panned back because it's all on video. I got the whole video, 3.5 hours. We're trying to condense it down to get to the very end. She looked around and said, do we have the votes? Do we have the votes? And everybody looked around, didn't have it. And she said, what do you want to do? And he said, I'm going to take your advice and we'll do it next Wednesday. Vote only, no debate. Vote only. And I looked into this woman. First of all, Pan's got all kinds of pharmaceutical money with all kinds of scandals. But do you know who Lou's husband is?
Who?
Michael Peavy, California Public Utilities Commissioner that had to step down after the San Bruno gas explosion killed 8 people.
Wow. Listen.
Okay, so that's enough of that. That's a name we need to remember. Can somebody type that down, Candace or somebody, or tweet it? Senator Lou's husband is, what's his name? Peavy? Gas
I
and
didn't
electric.
hear it very clearly.
Peavy, gas and electric. So we need to
But wait a minute, isn't that like, oh, never mind. Feinstein, her husband's involved in all.
It's all one humongous, incestuous cesspool of money and corruption, and the fact that we thought it was any different is shame on us. Shame on us for no more politicians that aren't babysat. We're going to babysit them 24/7 now. They need to, they can't be unsupervised. No more unsupervised representatives, period. Okay, so now let's go to what all did you find here? Okay, quick shout out to Ed and Terry Aranga, Autism One. They have the best, most comprehensive autism conference every year. I've presented and had full day events there multiple times, and I'm doing it again this year, all day Saturday. Thrive with 3 Eyes will be presenting some of the most cutting edge stuff on the planet. And I'm also going to be doing a summary of the social media campaign so that other people can basically do what we did to be successful. And that is, what are the dates on that, Candace, that we're going?
May 20th we're going through the 24th. And I'm going to be presenting as well.
Oh, yes. And you're doing the vaccine day where they're talking all about vaccines. So bottom line, we're going to be in Chicago, Autism One, the 20th through the 24th, which is Memorial Day weekend. And this is Terry Aranga. I've seen a couple versions of this now, but it looks pretty darn solid. So I showed you this calendar. This is at calendarwiz.com/SB277. So it's starting to have the things on here that we need to keep track of, but it should have had Morning's thing on here, and we have someone as of Monday who's going to take this over. So that'll be up to date again. But let's look at, I want to look at Candace's memes is what I want to do. So we have, what do we have here? Revoke ban. We saw that yesterday. Ooh, that looks interesting. So what you're saying, and I'll demonstrate here, is what if parents' top concern is vaccine safety? We've seen this a lot. This is 89% of parents' top concern is vaccine safety. And that's a data point that you cannot legislate past. If parents are concerned about the safety of vaccines, they're not going to vaccinate their kids no matter what the law says. You introduce fraud and you introduce all kinds of problems. You have to convince these parents it's the best plan or it simply won't happen. But let's go to the feature. I'm going to retweet this. It doesn't give me the option on my computer to do the quote button. Tim, what can I do to do that? We lost him to 2
He's
minutes.
muted.
He'll come back. It takes him a while. He's a man.
Here he comes.
Timothy.
It all depends on which program you're using. Some let you do it, some don't. So
Some let you do it, some don't. Okay, so I'll just retweet this and call it a day. But if you were on your phone, you would hit retweet, and then it would give you a quote tweet. And when you say quote tweet,
well, on yours, what you did right there was you can either hit the retweet button or the quote. So if you undo the retweet that you already did,
right?
then now when you click on that middle there, it should give you the choice of the two.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Okay. Oh well. But here's the beauty of this with Candace is she went back in her archive and found some of the best memes that she's had and just did a bunch of clusters. So go in, find some like this, retweet it, and add in the hashtag if the mine is there. If all of these are there, then go in and add your education committee people. Do stuff like that. But adding people that see this when you quote it is really, really important. So this was...
And those hashtags, I am the herd.
Exactly. So what you could do is you could go to @CESDave. She's already got most of the basic ones in, mine, SB277, and CDC Whistleblower. So you can quote it, and you can put in hashtag community immunity, hashtag vaccines work, hashtag I am the herd, and start to populate those threads just by cutting and pasting those three things in the quote feature and not impacting anything else.
Go ahead and click on that. I think it was there when you pulled it up. When you clicked on...
I just clicked on this.
Click the retweet button.
He's determined to believe it's there.
See that it says add a comment. So it's working like a quote now. So you put in...
So if I put in community immunity...
It gets added to that tweet now.
Vaccines work... how about do vaccines work? That's a better one.
They also have Vax Facts.
I don't think that's a big one though. It's not an official one that they're talking about at these trials, so I don't think. Do vaccines work? Because I don't like to be really negative, because then the trolls come out from hiding. I am the herd. Now, should I put CDC Whistleblower again in this one?
No,
Tim?
do at.
Period. At who?
Your guy, Alan CA.
Oh yeah,
And Monty.
What's Monning's address?
I don't remember.
Okay. At Ben Allen CA is one to keep track of for sure. This right here, then I would cut, except for she's great, but I am not going to cut and paste her each time. I'm going to get rid of this. My computer, my old computer worked better than my new one. I'm going to put the dot before Ben Allen. Oh, man.
You don't have to put a dot before Ben Allen. That's just a waste.
No, it isn't. It goes to my people. I have 11 followers.
That only works at the very beginning. You only have to put the period if it's the very, very beginning.
So it doesn't work if I put it at the beginning of the first @ that I marked?
No, doesn't make a difference.
Okay, well then you need to explain that, because I see that all over Twitter, because that's what we told them to do.
Because people don't know what they're doing.
Well, but that's because we didn't explain it very well, Tim.
You only put the period at the very, very beginning. If you do like at Ellen DeGeneres, you're talking right to Ellen. But if you put the dot in front of it, then it still goes to Ellen, but then it goes to all your people as well.
Okay, so I thought if you put the dot in front of the first time you mark anyone, no matter who it was, it would also go to your followers for that one character. Is that not true?
If it's at the very beginning, like you've got it now, you've got it at the very beginning, that's the correct usage of the period, yeah.
Okay, so correction to anybody who's doing this later, you need to initiate your tweet with one of your ats and put the period in front of it if you want your followers to get it. So now I'm going to cut and paste this. I don't know how to do this on a PC, but on a Mac, I do Command copy. Now I'm going to tweet this. Okay, why did it? That's weird, okay. I don't know what just happened, but okay. So now I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to hit retweet. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go Command V. It's going to copy the exact same thing. I maybe tweak it a little bit. Add one.
You can do the B1 less.
Oh, I could do B1 less, but that core. So if someone can go through all of these individually, one at a time, and add all the stuff that we need, and add at Ben Allen CE, that should probably put him on notice, which is what we want. Cool?
Yep, I'm hearing you.
Okay, anything else, ladies and gentlemen, for today? Timothy?
He's muted again.
I have to
This one's
unmute
great.
before I start talking. Yeah,
Oh,
keep
you
up
do.
keep up the good work.
Yes, everybody keep up the great work, and Candace, keep it up out there. She's got the best memes of all, so she's got all these ones in red that are amazing, and like this one. We need to be telling people the measles outbreak's over. And here's something that let me see if I can articulate to you guys, and then we can see if we can make it past just us. Everybody says that measles is the most contagious thing on the planet. We had measles at Disneyland, which, what do they get, 1 million? How many people a day do they get at Disneyland? 200,000, 300,000? I mean, it's one of the most densely populated places on Earth. It might be the happiest place on Earth, but it's also the most densely populated. 90% of that densely populated group of people gets in trains, planes, and automobiles to go home thousands of miles away. The fact that we only had 171 cases after we had a case at Disneyland tells me we have herd immunity fully intact. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the whole story just breaks down when you process it through a logical brain. It just all breaks down. Don't you think?
Yep.
Anyway, okay, well, we lost him. You guys have a great evening. Tad Tips 120. Keep up the great work on Twitter. Hashtag CDC Whistleblower. For the next week, hashtag SP277, hashtag mine all caps. And then go back into these memes like this one and hit the retweet button, quote it, and add in those other ones that are the other side's hashtags so we can populate those as well, which is hashtag community immunity, hashtag vaccines work, and just say do, and then hashtag vaccines work, and then question mark, and then the third one is hashtag I am the herd. The ones that work best for I am the herd are all the videos from Hear This Well and that whole thing. So we'll see you on Twitter. Thanks.